So we are really excited to have you all at this meeting about our new fresh out of pilot mode grant Project Feed. So in 2024 we launched this program as a pilot, and after successfully implementing it, we're proud to now introduce Project Feed as one of the core grant programs of our organization. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, I'll just go over a little bit of housekeeping. So while speakers are presenting, please keep your microphone on mute if possible. If you have any questions, you can either save it for the end or put it in the chat. We've got the whole Be More Beautiful team here, so we will be answering questions intermittently, but also have a session for you to ask questions at the end. And as you can see, this meeting is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. So if you don't want your face to be shown in the video, feel free to keep your camera off. Let's get to the next slide. So I'm assuming most of y'all know us, but if you do not, if you're not familiar with Be More Beautiful, we're a grassroots peer-to-peer beautification initiative under the Baltimore City Government's Environmental Control Board. Our program empowers residents to take an active role in improving the appearance and environmental health of their communities. And by encouraging collaboration among residents, businesses, and local organizations, Be More Beautiful works to build neighborhood pride and inspire collective action to keep Baltimore beautiful. And we do that block by block and neighborhood to neighborhood. Um, and our work is guided by 6 core elements, which include community organizing, yearly community champion summits, community improvement projects, troubleshooting, communication, and education. And we support residents in organizing their leading cleanups and greening projects, and transforming vacant or unused spaces into vibrant community assets such as gardens and green spaces. And so Be More Beautiful, we also offer seasonal grant opportunities such as this one that support community-led beautification projects. In addition, we host monthly workshops on urban gardening and green space development, as well as volunteer events throughout the spring, summer, and fall. And together, these programs support beautification and greening efforts throughout Baltimore while strengthening community leadership and helping to create a healthier, more vibrant city overall. So you may be wondering or already know a little bit about what is Project Feed. So as I was saying, this is our newest grant initiative, and it's designed to support the development, expansion, or revitalization of urban gardens and farms located in food priority areas across Baltimore City. So this program focuses on strengthening community-led food systems by providing resources and training to local growers who are committed to increasing access to fresh, healthy food in their neighborhoods. And by investing in these community spaces, Project Feed aims to promote food equity, neighborhood resilience, and environmental stewardship while empowering residents to take an active role in reshaping their local food landscape. So selected grantees, and we'll go over this in more detail throughout the presentation, but selected grantees will participate in an Urban Farmer Workshop series, which is a cohort-based learning experience that provides hands-on education, technical assistance, and peer support throughout the year. Through this little academy, participants will gain practical skills in urban agriculture and community engagement. And the cohort model also creates opportunities for participants to build relationships with other urban growers, share knowledge, and learn from one another's experience. And in addition to educational workshops, grantees will receive ongoing project guidance and volunteer support to strengthen their garden sites and expand their impact. And participants will have access to Be More Beautiful staff, mentors, and community partners who can provide troubleshooting assistance, technical advice, and connections to additional resources. And volunteer days may also be coordinated to assist with tasks such as site preparation, planting, infrastructure improvements, and seasonal maintenance. And a key component of this program is long-term sustainability. So throughout the cohort year, participants will work towards developing a customized sustainability plan tailored to the specific needs and goals of their garden. And this plan will help guide each project's continued growth by identifying strategies for community investment, volunteer management, food distribution, and long-term site stewardship. And to support these efforts, Be More Beautiful will be awarding 4 emerging urban farms with up to $10,000 each in grant funding. These funds can be used to support essential infrastructure, tools, supplies, and program activities that strengthen the garden's ability to serve the community. And so by combining financial support with training, mentorship, and volunteer engagement, we aim to have Project Feed help each participating garden or farm to build a strong foundation and thrive well beyond the grant period. So now I will turn things over to Natasha or Brandy to walk us through the project timeline as well as the application requirements, eligibility, and the application process.
Well, thank you, Morgan, so much for that wonderful start to this presentation. Again, folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So, project timeline. So, guys, we got a short window, but a lot of things can happen at that short period of time. The application window will officially open on April 17th. Excuse me. The application will officially open on March 16th. It will be available on our website. If you do not have it, don't worry. It will be projected at some point. It will be primarily digital. However, if you are interested in getting a hard, regular PDF, Word document, we will have that available for you as well. It will be posted on our official website, which is on baltimorecity.gov. You can just search Environmental Control Board and then click on Be More Beautiful, and you'll see everything you need there. During the application window, we encourage folks that are maybe need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of insight about what direction they might want to go with in terms of urban gardening, to reach out to one of the members of the team, be it Morgan, myself, or Brandy. We will try our best to help you. Make sure that you are developing a project submission that is fully reflective of what you are hoping to do and hoping to accomplish. The application window will close at April 17th. The guidelines specific to this particular grant will be posted tomorrow morning. As everyone may know, the city has recently updated our website, so there are a little bit more additional steps that we have to go through just to make sure that what we're posting is appropriate. So check our site out tomorrow. You'll see all of the listed guidelines that you'll need in order to apply there. During April 20th through 30th, that's going to be the application evaluation window. That'll be the time where we'll review your application. We'll do some reaching out to our partners at housing just to make sure that whatever sites you are hoping to either expand, begin, or revitalize is in good standing, meaning that you have, an adopted lot license, a right of entry, those good things, or it's community owned. We will probably take a little field trip out. It's getting nice, y'all, and we don't want to be in the office either, just to put eyes on the location that you're looking at. Additionally, I'm sorry, can I turn it over to you? I apologize.
Sure. So I think I'll pick up our outside because we certainly want to be out. So if we have to, we'll do an additional site visit. Project Feed is our baby. So we really take a lot of time to ensure that that you're going to be successful in your execution. Okay. So on May 2nd through the 5th, grant agreements will go out in notifications. So if you're awarded, we'll definitely let you know via email. So it could come from either of us, but most likely it will come from our Be More Beautiful inbox. And typically how we like to, and we usually send out a notification and say, hey, congratulations, you have been selected. And then grant agreements will come out via Nitro for you to sign. And so please ensure that on the application that you are listing the personnel that are authorized and that are able to be signers for your organization, because usually we will go exactly by the names that are listed there. And especially same, if you need to use a fiscal sponsor, please make sure we have the right person because they're the ones that's going to be listed on a grant agreement. They're the ones that's going to receive the Nitro in order to sign. But we'll get there when to that point. But I just kind of wanted you to think about that when you're putting people down on the application. And so May, excuse me, May 11th by 5 p.m., grant agreements, workday registration, W-9s will be due. Sometimes we can be a little flexible, but typically we will be holding tight to our timeline. So we like to give you a little nudge and say, hey, did you see what we sent? Are you in agreement? Please sign. But we ask that you kind of get those back. If you are one that's been awarded, please get those back to us ASAP by May 11th by 5 p.m. Otherwise, we would have to move on and give your spot over to someone else. We're going to touch on workday registration a few slides down, so I'll skip that. And W-9s, if you have old W-9s, this is a great time to update them. Check out the federal government's website. We'll send all of that information to you. But I want to say the October, the ones in the upper left-hand corner that says revise 2018 are no longer accepted. So they've got new ones out that should say 2024 that's fillable. Those are the ones that'll be accepted. And when I say accepted, I mean by workday. So we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll talk about that. But this is a good time to kind of update your W-9s for your organization, not individuals. November 9th is when your midway report will be due. So we kind of split it up like this for reporting purposes. We want to kind of get to kind of see what's going on, maybe what hiccups you have, what additional support you need. So that's why we request a midway report. Don't be fearful. It's not 1,000 pages long or anything like that. It'll be really, really simple, but it does give us a little insight into what you've been doing, what you spent so far, what are some of the fall activities that you've got in the hopper, what challenges you might be facing, how can we better support you, how can we help, what spring planting plans you might have, any crops needed, hey, you need volunteers, Morgan's your gal, all of that. And I didn't realize I didn't put my camera on. Hold on, I'm talking to you guys. That could be on the camera. Hey. But yes, so we do a midway report so that way we can kind of get an idea of where you are and where we need to jump in. And then May 14th, 2027, the final report will be due. And so again, the key here is for this timeline is to keep in touch. Don't be so fearful about dates and fearful about execution and things like that. We're your girls. We're going to be right alongside you with it. But the point is to keep in touch, keep communication going, especially if we're experiencing hiccups. Did I forget anything, girls? Natasha?
No, thank you so much, Brandon. You hit everything perfectly. And the other thing about the midway report, just to tack on to Brandy, that'll be a perfect time. We know that the price today may not be the price tomorrow. So if there happens to be a situation where perhaps, hey, we originally wanted to do this, but it's too costly now, we need to pivot, that's a good time to also submit any type of like budget adjustments that you might need, because we understand you might find a better price, or you just might have to pivot all the way together, but use that as an opportunity to make those pivots as well. And the final report will be due on May 14th. And again, like Brandy said, if you're new to us, just know that our reportings are very accessible, very easy. We make it plain language so that way everybody can do it. The most time that you'll spend, I promise you, might be 30 minutes max. We want to make sure that, we are just addressing what needs to be accomplished for that particular report. Nothing strenuous. You can go to the next one, Morgan. So application requirements. Now, guys, we are going to be sticking tough to these requirements. For those of you who do know us, I still, again, echo what Brandon said, we're flexible. However, in this case, if we don't have these things, we're just going to unfortunately have to say, not at this time. So please make sure that if you have an Adopt-A-Lot license, that you include a copy of that license. I know right now, housing is beginning to accept applications for new spaces, renewals, all that good jazz. If you are somewhere in limbo and can't provide it, please let us know so that way we can reach out to our partners at housing, just to confirm that, hey, this applicant that's located in Laurelville, because you were one of the first ones I see, they submitted their application, but they said they Adopt-A-Lot license is still being reviewed. Let us know so that way we can just make sure that it's fine. As long as they can confirm that with us, you'll be good to go. Same thing with right of entries. Please make sure that you provide that information as well. Um, we are focusing on particularly those lots that are mayor and city council only owned, and community owned lots. Private lots are not accepted in this particular grant opportunity from us. So if it's a nuisance space that happens to be owned, let's say by a private LLC in New Jersey, and let's say they've never taken care of it and you want to get in and do something, care lot would have been the route to go with. But for this particular grant, we have to keep it tight and make sure that you have the license, so to speak, or the permission, better word to use, to go in and make some improvements. It's also important, guys, that when you do your application, that you inform whomever your neighborhood development officer is in housing that you are seeking funding for this particular grant. So that way they are aware of it and they can take notes. That is something that is new for this year with this particular cohort, but it's certainly something that is required. You can go to the next slide, Morgan. Okay, eligibility requirements. Registered 501c3. We actually need to have the form from the IRS that says you were established on June 1st, 2027. Or excuse me, I'm moving the future, 2017, for instance. We actually need to have that. If you're using a fiscal sponsor, your fiscal sponsor, we will need to have that documentation from them as well. You have to be located in Baltimore City, meaning your organization has to be based here in Baltimore City. And if you're using a fiscal sponsor, they have to be operating in Baltimore City as well. I've already tapped on making sure that it's mayor and city council, community-owned green lots. And that means that the community actually is on that paperwork. So it can't be one of those spaces where I, Natasha, own a lot, but it's open to the community. That's not going to work. It would have to be Reservoir Hills Community Association's lot that they own, that kind of thing. And also just keep in mind that if you happen to be protected by Baltimore Green Space, to provide some type of documentation from their staff, just indicating that your space is underneath their land trust, that's acceptable as well. You would have to provide that as well. You can go to the next slide, Morgan. Okay, application process, guys. Here's the nitty-gritty, the fun stuff. Program summary. That's basically letting us know a little bit about your organization, your connection to the space, and your connection to the community. We always want to make sure that wherever things are taking place in Baltimore City, particularly with Be More Beautiful, that it is always community driven and that you are actually a part of the neighborhood in a meaningful way, not a person that just lives there or works there, but a person that is actively engaged with the community. Proposal narrative, it's going to be a couple questions, just you outlining what you're hoping to accomplish with this particular grant funding, what type of crops you want to potentially, let's say, grow. Giving us a little background about the history of the space. Let's say it's a space that has been historically in the neighborhood for years, and it was at one point an urban garden, but over years, the person who may have been the proprietor, that's not even the best word, but let's say the person who was responsible for tending the space is no longer around. Maybe they moved, maybe they had to hang their gardening gloves up, and now it's in time for some revitalization. You want to just have an opportunity to get to learn a little bit more about that with the cost associated with what you're hoping to do in your space. That helps a lot. That lets us know that you've done your research, you've reached out to people, and they've given you something to indicate what the cost may be. Now, again, we understand that the price today may not be the price later, but certainly keep that in mind. Also keep in mind with your budget, one of the requirements is to have a urban garden starter kit that Morgan has put together that will be available on the website tomorrow to just give you an idea about the 3 things that we are going to require in terms of raised beds and a few other things that I'm sure Morgan can go into more detail about. But those starter kit items will have to be included in your budget. It's a relatively low amount. I think something around like maybe $2,000, which gives you $8,000 to play around with in terms of accomplishing some other things that you may want to do at your space. But when you're working on your budget, please keep in mind that those requirements that will be listed in terms of the urban starting kit must be factored in. We're also asking that if you are using a fiscal sponsor for this particular grant, you can include the cost of the fiscal sponsorship fee in your budget. So it might take away from the overall project, but this is also one of the things that we're able to do with this particular grant to help shoulder some of the costs that may come along with utilizing a fiscal sponsor, and all of the supporting documents that were mentioned prior, meaning our adopted lot licenses, our W-9s, our RS forms, our right of entry, proof that you've reached out to your neighborhood development officer. That could be literally an email, it could be a text, whatever is your preferred way that you've contacted with your neighborhood development officer is fine. If you're using a fiscal sponsor, we will need to have a letter of support on their letterhead saying that, yes, I support what's going on, and I'm gonna just keep going back to Lauraville. We're on Lauraville, and we are happy to serve as their fiscal sponsor. That's acceptable. We will need to have that as well. But again, it has to make sure that it's on their letterhead. It cannot simply be an email. You can go to the next one, Morgan. And this is where Brandy take over, because she's our CFO, y'all. Y'all ain't even know, but she's here to tell you what to do.
Never. All right, so money, 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 money. Hey, you guys missed your cue to sing. Okay, so this grant, we will be dispersing funds via our Workday platform. If you've been hanging with Be More Beautiful for a while, you know that we've used other avenues as well, but we are going back to our mainstay, and that's going to be Workday. So registering as a supplier is key, and maybe a great idea if you intend to do more grant or opportunities with us, because all of our grants are going to start coming solely out of Workday. So Workday is fickle. So let's talk about it. In order to register with Workday, you have to go to the city's procurement website. Morgan has listed it at the bottom of this slide. Again, Natasha did mention the city has a new website. Let me know if you're having trouble. I tried it, it came up. The button that you are to click is doing business with the city. All right, so it's going to look a little different than if you tried to look on that before, because we upgraded the website. But new grantees or fiscal sponsors will need to register as a supplier. Application looks exactly the same on your W-9, because they're going to request that you upload your W-9. And I promise you, if it is off by one capital letter or hyphen or anything, they will kick it back, and it will delay you getting that wonderful approved notification that we're looking for to register as a supplier. Morgan did mention a couple slides back about a timeline. So in order to have you have to be registered as a supplier by May 11th. And so, of course, that'll be about the week after. You'll know if you've been awarded this grant, and then you can go ahead and get started to get registered. It's not a long process. It's maybe I did it with a group. It took us maybe about 10 minutes to get it done. And so it's not a bad process at all. And we've also did a PowerPoint for one of our other grants that really walked you through. We went frame by frame of what to expect. And so that way you know what to click. We tell you what to skip, what language to put where. We made it absolutely simple. So we'll be able to send that out to all those that have been awarded as grantees. Again, I mentioned you need your W-9. Your W-9 is for your organization, not your individual W-9. So it should contain your organization's EIN number, not your social. We've received those before. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, also, the person that's registering for the Workday supplier account, please make sure that person is an authorized signer of the organization. And I also suggest when you guys are registering, these are some of the hiccups that we've experienced with folks. Make sure you write down that password. Make sure you write down your username. And I suggest using an email address for the organization, because if you use Brandy's got it going on at gmail.com, and I decide to leave the organization, nobody has the password, all of that stuff. While your account can be reset, it is a doozy, family. It is a doozy, and it will delay us kind of getting you on the ball because we don't have that kind of access. So we'll be kicking you over to the Workday help team, and it just takes a minute. So we always just suggest, if you're doing it, make sure it's something that the organization or the president, board, however you like to do that, make sure it's something that everybody will have access to in the event you decide to leave and do some other things. So I want to make sure that I did say that we'll provide you with the presentation. This I saw on the slide. I wanted to mention this because I wrote my notes because I don't want you guys to miss it. Natasha talked about eligibility requirements, and did y'all see on the slide that it says that your organization has to be in good standing? That is something right at the top. You see that? Yep. That is something that we will check. And in order, and I'll tell you right now, our law department will not sign off on your grant agreement if your business or org is not in good standing. And I mention that because today it may be in good standing. Come May, when they send out those filings, it would it would throw a little red flag on your org indicating you haven't filed for 2026 or something like that, or 2025. I mean, it was so wild what happened last year where people were in good standing, but by the time it came for grant agreements to be signed off, they weren't. So it is something that can be easily done, but I just kind of want to go ahead and put that plug in that you can check out the state's website, kind of see where you guys are as your organization, make sure all is well. But that is something that we will be checking, and you have to be in good standing in order to proceed with this grant. So I wanted to mention it again, even though we said something, because it's really, really important. And we are here to help. We'll be going right alongside you, ensuring that you guys are good to go. So don't think we'll leave you, but just want to make sure for some of these details you got to handle on your own. But we certainly will let you know if we see that there's any issue that might be hindering you from proceeding forward with your signed grant agreement. If you're already in the system, which most people are, because we've been doing a great job getting everybody registered as a supplier in the Workday system, please go back in there and update your banking. Make sure your banking is good, or if you want, select EFT as opposed to getting a check, because it is so much easier to get your direct deposit versus receiving a check in the mail. And for those that are using a fiscal sponsor, and we've experienced this before where a fiscal sponsor wasn't always available, so you didn't know when the check came because someone wasn't always checking the mail. All those things that happen. So if you already registered as a supplier, please go in, make sure your contact information is up to date. Your supplier portal will allow you access to make any changes to your banking. Also, if you needed to change your remit to address, let's say for instance they try to hit you with a direct deposit or electronic funds transfer, it doesn't go through, they're going to send you a check. It is going to go to your remit to address. If that remit to address is from the old secretary that's moved to Florida and living her best life, you're never going to get it. Then we'll be chasing around this check, trying to get it canceled, all of that craziness. So check out your remit to address, making sure it's an address that's for the organization and that you can access. So I know I gave you a whole lot, but I'm just always trying to think about all of the little hiccups that have held people back from moving forward or delayed them getting their funding the same time everybody else did. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is it. I think we've covered everything. Morgan, would you go back to the Workday slide? Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Harping on that, we've got a step-by-step presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm actually happy to walk you through. If you rather come in the office, we got a new office space that's really nice. We've got space for you. You can come into the office and we can sit down if you want to do it together. I won't be able to show the looking at your passwords or whatever, but people have given me their passwords and I've kept them. Just all is well. But yeah, we are available. We just want to make it easy, take away any hiccups that you may have. So don't feel pressured. A lot of folks on here that's already in Workday, they can tell you that it's all good. So that is it. So we'll let you know when to start to get registered, and you can let us know if you have any issues. Next slide. I think I'm tossing it back to you, Morgan.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Brandy. And I apologize, I have to be off camera. My Wi-Fi is a bit unstable. So hopefully this will keep us yeah, all together. Okay, so mentoring, I know I mentioned it a bit before, but so this is going to be an essential part of Project Feed to foster a strong, supportive community. Um, and yeah, so promoting our grantees' long-term growth, development, and sustainability is a key goal of this year's cycle. So by connecting new grantees with experienced participants from our inaugural cohort, the mentoring component fosters knowledge sharing, collaboration, and peer support across the network. And so each new grantee will be paired with a mentor from, as I was saying, our first cohort, who will serve as an additional resource throughout the year. Um, and the mentors bring valuable experience from implementing their own projects, navigating challenges related to community engagement, garden management, and program sustainability. And through this relationship, mentors can offer practical guidance, encouragement, insight, and just overall, help new grantees to strengthen their project and avoid common obstacles. So our mentors will play an active role in the cohort by leading at least one workshop during the year. In addition, they will provide ongoing support to their mentees as they develop and strengthen their sustainability plans. And the support may include reviewing plans, offering feedback, connecting mentees with relevant community resources, and sharing strategies to help maintain momentum beyond the cohort period. Mentors will also support mentees through direct engagement with their projects. So each mentor will volunteer at least one garden event hosted by their mentee, providing hands-on support while strengthening relationships within the Be More Beautiful network. Likewise, mentors will attend at least one activation event organized by their mentee. And yeah, this is, demonstrating community solidarity, helping amplify the impact of the mentee's work. So, all of the things that we're trying to build in the long term will be facilitated through this mentorship program. Um, and yeah, so by strengthening relationships between cohorts and encouraging shared leadership, mentoring ensures that the knowledge, experiences, and successes of past grantees continue to benefit future participants and contribute to the long-term sustainability of this grant program overall. So exciting development of this year's cohort. So as I was mentioning about our workshops, our workshop series is designed to provide participants with a strong foundation in both urban farming theory and community-based practice. Through this series, grantees will receive comprehensive training that combines hands-on experiential education with real-world insights from experienced urban farmers. Um, and as I mentioned before, our workshops will be led by last year's Project Feed grantees. And each session includes a tour of the presenting mentees or mentors garden or farm. So it'll be in person, hands-on, giving y'all a up-close view of how these concepts are applied in practice, and hopefully will serve as an inspiration for your sites. So these workshops, the core ones, are required. So these are just some examples. So yeah, potentially the wording around the label of these workshops may change, but these are the ones that we have thus far. So we'll have a transforming a vacant lot workshop, which is led by Preston 2K. They're like our star student of our last year's cohort. And they've just done an amazing job, from the grassroots, transforming a lot to be a community garden, gathering space, healing garden, cat sanctuary a little bit on the side too. But they're just amazing. And so they will be teaching you all the skills of how to make things happen from the ground up. And yeah, how to really create something that is meaningful to the community from the grassroots. Um, we'll also be having an organic urban vegetable production workshop, which will be led by Whitelock Community Farm, where participants will learn the principles and practices of growing healthy organic produce in an urban setting. We'll be having a growing cultural crops workshop presented by Harlem Park Community Farm. And this session will highlight the culturally significant crops that are grown there, their planting techniques, and community engagement strategies around cultural sustainability. And then we'll be having a Grow to Give urban farming for pantry support workshop led by our lovely Pathway Forward group. This workshop will focus on producing food to support local pantries and community food distribution networks. And finally, at the end, we will have our Sustaining Your Green Space 101 workshop taught by Nat Adams. He's a PhD. Um, he's completed his PhD now, so, in between, being a professor and also just a professional in the community in green space sustainability and management, so this session will equip participants with long-term strategies for maintaining, funding, and growing community gardens and urban farms. So yeah, altogether 5 workshops. Yeah, so these ones are required. It'll be once per month. So yeah, and we also will work with you all in your schedules to make sure that this is something that, works for everybody and will be accessible. Um, so I'll move on to some optional workshops. These are also subject to change, but these are the ones that we have in the works right now. So in addition to these core workshops, we're offering optional educational opportunities designed to expand participant skills and explore diverse aspects of urban gardening and community food work in Baltimore City. These will also be available to the public, so it won't just be your cohort there. But just like a little overview, we're hoping to have a workshop with the Arabber community about how they bridge Baltimore's food gaps and exploring that unique tradition of fighting food apartheid in Baltimore City. We'll have a seed preservation workshop, which will focus on focus on techniques for saving and storing seeds for future planting. We're hoping to have a herbal bundle making workshop, which will engage participants in hands-on learning to create bundles for wellness from fresh herbs. Herbs are also a wonderful like value added thing for urban farms and gardens, I'm sure, as many of you know. Um, and then we also have a yearly urban flower farming workshop, which will cover the cultivation and marketing of cut flowers in city spaces, and a sheet mulching workshop, which will provide an overview of sustainable methods for soil improvement and weed control. So yeah, we'll also have more. We have workshops every month that are open to the public throughout the year. So lots of opportunities for continued learning. Um, yeah, so as I mentioned before, sustainability planning. So developing a long-term sustainability plan is a critical part of ensuring that each garden and urban farm can thrive well beyond the grant period. By planning ahead, grantees can secure resources, engage their communities, and create lasting impacts on their neighborhoods. Um, so as I mentioned, Dr. Adams, Nat Adams will be assisting each grantee individually to create a comprehensive sustainability plan. This will be a collaborative process which includes multiple one-on-one consultations where participants receive tailored guidance on areas such as resource management, volunteer coordination, funding strategies, things I mentioned before. Um, and these sessions will help grantees identify challenges, set realistic goals, and explore opportunities to strengthen their garden's capacity and resilience. And this process will culminate in the creation of a formal sustainability planning document, which will serve as a strategic blueprint with actionable steps, timelines, and success metrics. And this plan equips grantees to maintain and expand their projects into the future. So yeah, just a kind of unique part of this grant that we have found was really valuable for our cohort last year. And I know Natasha and Brady were mentioning some of the reporting requirements, so I'll just go over this quickly, but our midway report is a key requirement of Project Feed. And yeah, having consistent reporting to track the progress, financial management, and overall impact of each participating garden project is really important to our program overall. So as part of this process, each grantee must submit a midway report by November 9th, 2026, which focuses on early progress and implementation status. The report requires organizations to provide an update on funds spent to date and the remaining grant balance, along with a brief narrative summarizing accomplishments made thus far, and whether grant funds are being used as planned. Like, yeah, Natasha was saying, things definitely move around with this crazy economy. So, it's not a big deal. We'll just ask for that information in the midway report. And yeah, also any challenges or support needed will be reported in this. Grantees must also describe progress on garden development, including the installation of garden beds, crops planted or planned, and anticipated harvest timelines. And in addition, the report asks participants to reflect on their experience with the Project Feed workshop series, identify the most valuable workshops, and confirm progress on their sustainability plan. And finally, organizations must outline upcoming community engagement activities and volunteer opportunities. I know it'll be later in the season, so this will be maybe planning for the spring. And also submit an interim expense report comparing projected budget to spending to date. And then, so the final report for Project Feed requires grantees to provide a concise narrative and financial summary documenting the outcomes of their funded project. This report must include basic organizational and grant information, followed by a 2 to 3 page narrative describing the project's goals, experiences with the Project Feed workshop series. And yeah, organizations must, report measurable outcomes, much like the midway report, but this will be at the end of the whole year. So some of the same information will be expected, detailing community engagement, number of garden beds and other infrastructure built, and yeah, also organizations should describe the project's impact on their neighborhood, wellness, and explain the role of supporting programs like Care-a-Lot. And finally, a financial expense report comparing the projected budget to actual expenses will be submitted along with receipts at the end of this. And this will be due on May 14th, 2027. So this is far in the future, but both of these reports are really essential. They ask for similar information, but at different periods of your grant implementation process. So that is it. So I think we are open for questions now. I'll have to check out the chat, but feel free to take yourself off mute, jump into the conversation. And yeah, I'd be happy to hear any thoughts. Leslie, I see that you raised your hand. Feel free to tell us.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I did have a question. Will we be able to receive? I just not too long ago got in due to Eventbrite sending me the ticket late. So will I be able to obtain the information that you went over prior to me joining in?
Absolutely, yes. This whole meeting was recorded. I really apologize that Eventbrite was delayed in sending you the link to join. So I apologize, but I will have the recording uploaded right after this meeting, and then I will send that out to you.
Thank you.
So expect that by tomorrow morning.
Hi, this is Tia. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Tia.
Hi. So I was, my question is, do y'all have a listing of fiscal sponsors?
That's a great question, Tia. And the list is getting smaller and smaller, if you want me to be very honest. A lot of the larger uh, citywide kind of fiscal sponsors, when you think about I'll use Hepcat, that's the first one that pops in my head as of recent, are starting to fold, and a lot of organizations are becoming a little bit more I would say a little bit more cautious about taking on smaller groups. I do have a few that I'm happy to share with whomever, just so you can have it as an option. I always suggest to people that first start with your community association if you are affiliated with one, just because a lot of times community associations that are 501c3s do not charge a fiscal sponsor fee because it's for the betterment of the community, or if they do, it's a relatively small amount, like 1%. Faith-based is always a great option as well if you happen to have a good relationship with whatever faith-based organization that's in your community that you may attend, or you might just, have a good relationship with. But some of the ones, a lot of them are starting to fold, but I'm happy to share that. And I'll post it on the website as well. And I'll make sure that I share it with Morgan. So when Morgan sends out all of her lovely details about tonight's recording, it will include that list as well.
Thank you. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Y'all quiet bunch. I hope that means that we did a good job explaining everything and you're ready to get out
another
here and get this
question.
application going.
I have another question.
Sure.
So my question is about, I guess if you want to say the support in building a sustainable, let's say, plan for
Mhm.
your organization or for your, for your organization. I heard you say that for some of the workshops that is required with the grant, it's going to be open to the public. But my question is everything that you offered and that support going to be offered to the public? Because I don't think I'd be able to apply for the grant because I need a fiscal sponsor, but I need the other resources or the education that you guys are providing with the grant.
That's a great question. Yeah, so the core workshops will not be open to the public. We may be able to make an exception because I mean we know and love you, Tia. So, it probably will be fine. But yeah, to the general public, no. But the other workshops I mentioned, including like the seed preservation, like sheet mulching, all of that, those will be open to the public. And I'm happy to get you on our Eventbrite mailing list, just to keep you updated with those opportunities.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm already on the list. That's how I found out
yeah.
about this.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, glad to hear it.
Hi, this is Marlene. I'm new to all of this, new grantee here, and I was just jotting some notes down. But you had mentioned a document that said right of something. I missed what that was.
Yes, the right of entry, that's something that's typically issued by housing if a lot that you are interested in is something that's not owned by the mayor and city council, right? So the city is huge, and you'd be surprised all of the random nooks and crannies that actually have ownership over green spaces, right? So some of them might be owned by DOT, Parks and Recs. We learned that even the comptroller's office has a couple of lots underneath its actual asset management. And those cases, because they need to be cared for, and a lot of time those agencies may not be the ones that provide consistent maintenance, housing is able to work with that agency to provide a right of entry. So if it's a space, meaning that you can go and you're subject to the same requirements or permissions, I should say, that would come along with adopt a lot. if you are interested in a green space and you're not quite sure what it is, if it's mayor and city council or whomever else, you can always shoot it to a member of the team, and we'll be more than happy to look into it for you just so you can get an idea.
Oh my God, thank you. That's great.
Sure.
Mhm.
Oh, I was gonna say just to pivot, or excuse me, just to I guess piggyback on Morgan and the cohorts, the green spaces that we were able to work with in our first iteration of Project Feed, they're simply beautiful. So I would strongly suggest that if you want to drive around, check a place out, and get some inspiration from whether it's Whitelock, Preston 2K, Pathway Forward, or Harlem Park, I would strongly encourage it. The work that these organizations were able to do within that year has been simply, I would just say more than anything, humbling as a public servant to see what dedication can really get you when people have support. So I think they are really great spaces to check out in your free time, especially since it's getting warm, y'all. Check them out. And I'm sure Morgan can also include that information when she sends things out. I would say check them out. And I see some hands up. Jordan.
Yes, hi. I'm in the Frankfurt community, and I'm curious if I were to find a property that's a bit further outside of our normal range, what is the measure of that we have the capacity to make a meaningful impact? I heard earlier that you needed to I guess get some kind of explanation as to our community connection. What does that look like if we don't normally have impact in that area?
Good question. So let me start with this green space that you're interested in. Do you or are you looking to secure an adopt-a-lot license for it?
I haven't made a decision just yet, but and really based on this question, primarily because I wanted to make sure that if we were to secure and adopt a lot, if we were to pursue this particular grant, it wouldn't be denied based off of that.
So it wouldn't. One of the things that go along with securing an adopt-a-lot license is you or in your group being able to show that you have received support from whatever the community association or anchor institution is in that area. So if the space, let's say it's in, I don't know, Sedonia. I don't know why that's the first thing that popped in my head, but that's what I'm gonna go with Sedonia. And you apply for the space, what your neighborhood development officer is going to do is reach out to whomever the community association is or umbrella organization and say, hey, were you aware that Jordan is interested in getting an adopt-a-lot license for this space, and this is what he's hoping to do? The community associations are going to say, yes, we think it's a great idea, or they're going to put some brakes on it. I would say my suggestion is, even before you do your adopt-a-lot license application, because that is something that they're going to do, is to do that up front. Reach out to whomever, and if you need some help trying to figure out who would be the association or umbrella organization, again, you can reach out to a member of the team. We're more than happy to assist you with that and let them know that, hey, I'm interested in applying for an adopt-a-lot. We're going to put out application. This is what we're hoping to do in the space. We're seeking grant funds. Give them a very honest idea about what you're hoping to do, and at the same time showing that you have the capacity to do it. It's been my experience, and Morgan and Brandy, feel free to add on to what I'm about to say. It's been my experience that one of the major, I would say, reasons why adopt-a-lot licenses are often, particularly when it has to do with urban gardening, often denied is because there's no capacity. So folks start, they get very, very hyped behind it, and then after a year, it becomes, it reverts back to the nuisance or problem or unsightliness that it was before. Or the community becomes concerned that, hey, you're going to be growing certain things and maybe it's going to lead to the increase of rodents in the area. These are just common things that folks would happen to say. And a lot of times, again, it falls back to capacity, particularly if you are a one-man show. We look for at least 3 people to be a part of the team. but I would say that would be the best way to start. And again, if you need some help with that, any member of the team can certainly help. Brandy and Morgan, you feel free to add to that as well if you've experienced something similar or different.
Thank you. And one last clarifying question. Is the
Sure.
Adopt-A-Lot license a requirement for this grant?
For this, yes, because we're seeking to do improvements on mayor and city council spaces. And so we just want to make sure that the permissions are there and that the space that you're interested in is not scheduled for development.
Mhm.
We work in partnership with housing on a lot of things. And unfortunately, we've seen it happen and we don't want it to happen again, that you, members of your team, have put in your time, your effort, your love, to attend these cohorts, to begin to develop something that's beautiful, only to find out 3 weeks later that housing has to come through and rip it all out. And now your time, your effort, and funding has gone to waste because the space that you're interested in was scheduled for something that we weren't aware of. So it's a requirement just to, more than anything, protect your investment. And by investment, I really mean your time. More than our funds, I mean your time, because it's a lot of work. And when you do this type of work, a lot of times it's a labor of love. And we would not want to see that happen. This makes sure that you are protected in the end.
Thank you. I know exactly what you mean. Greatly appreciated.
No worries. Elise, I see your hand up.
Hi. So I had a question because I know you said there was something said earlier about like events on the lot.
Mhm.
Does this grant happen to cover events on the lot? And if so, what type of events do you mean?
We've seen all kinds of events. I always tell people, if you can, keep it on the lower end, because ultimately what we want the funding to go towards is the actual development of the space itself. But let's say you want to have we've had people do community meet-ins. We've had people have just like meet and greets for the neighborhood there. We've had people do Easter egg hunts, just because that's the next holiday coming up, and that's all I can think about right now is buying eggs. Back to school giveaways, those type of events can take place. Now, the funding cannot go to buy backpacks and eggs necessarily. We want to say keep it on the lower end. We ask people that if your budget has to comprise of food of any element, to keep it on at like $100 or less. And don't be surprised if we deny it, because that's really a touchy subject for us in general in the city at large. So we ask for people to try to avoid that. But if there's one of those things that, let's say, you have to get a permit for because you have secure funding from something else and you need to get permitting and you want to put this all together in one beautiful marriage, well, you can include your permitting, let's say, in your budget. For us, the activation doesn't have to be big, but we want to make sure that it is something that is known to the community and attended by the community. And we know that communities can be fickle. This week you got 5 people out, 2 weeks later you might got 50 people. You never know. But at the end of the day, we just want to make sure it is something that is open to the people. It could be food giveaways, honestly. So let's say, for instance, you plant figs and you want to do just a fig giveaway. Come by, everybody, pick up as many figs as you would like, fill your bucket up, go for it. That for us would count as an activation as well as a requirement as far as fulfilling, showing that you're actually addressing food insecurity in some way. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it actually did.
Great.
I just have one more question.
Yes.
As far as mentoring, do you offer mentoring even like for the beginning stages, like for the Adopt-A-Lot and things like that, like getting the license and picking out a place and things in that nature?
Yeah, we can absolutely assist with that. That's why this is, honestly, if you wanted to reach out to a member of the team tomorrow, that's totally fine to help you with that. We're more than happy. We are a very hands-on organization. So as much as we possibly can to help folks get started and moving, whether it's with this grant or some of the other opportunities, because this is just one. We offer a whole lot of different grant opportunities as well as volunteer network, as you know, Morgan and Brandy had both mentioned earlier. So if it's too big and you're like, I'm just wanting, let's say, get started and I need to get my hands, let's say, dirty, and I need a starting point, we can help you in every way, whether it's with this grant or some of our other opportunities. The adopt a lot license process and connecting you with your neighborhood development officer and having them give you some ideas about what spaces might be available.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. And also your picture is beautiful. I love the makeup.
Thank you so much.
The card is not declining. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Brandy, Morgan, do you guys have anything to add for the good of the people?
No, I think that's everything. You guys, we really appreciate you being on. I think you'll find this grant a ton of fun, and you're going to absolutely enjoy that pairing with the old cohort with you guys. You're going to love it. You're going to really enjoy this. We really enjoy and we love putting these grants out, and it is our pleasure to serve as your liaison. So we are here for you, available to help in any way possible. So don't be a stranger. Reach out, ask questions. We still got time, you know. We're doing it a little early, so you know, let's work out some of the kinks, and we're here for you. And just wanted to say thank you so much for giving us some of your time because it's nice outside. Y'all could be outside.
Yes, it is. But, and Morgan, if you're able to do this, let me know. But it's supposed to get cold again, y'all. You know, it's March in Baltimore. So this week we got our shorts and t-shirts on, and next week we back to boots and sweaters. So you never know. So if we're coming up on one of those boots and sweater days, last year with our cohort, we had the great fortune of having a lovely intern join us from by way of Yale. She was a graduate from the University of Chicago to put together our Project Feed storytelling, which basically captured and highlighted what our cohorts were able to accomplish during that year, as well as touching on some of our other community champions and their efforts to address food insecurity. It is such a great video. I'm so proud of what our grantees were able to accomplish and what Morgan, who I will always big up, was able to just help and serve as a guide for in this inaugural iteration of this particular program, as well as Kennedy. It was a great process. And if Morgan, if you're able to just include, it might be on the, I don't know, it might be actually already on the website, on the YouTube channel. Morgan can correct me if I'm wrong, but if she is able to share it, I would say check it out. It's really good. And again, it will give you an opportunity to really get into the mindset of why some of the folks do what they do and how they did it as you potentially explore applying for this particular grant.
Absolutely. Thank you, Natasha. Yes, I will send that out with the rest of the information in the follow-up email. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here. I'm so excited to see your applications and to hopefully work with some of y'all. Yeah, we just really appreciate all of the passion and care that you bring into the work that you all do in your communities, and just I'm always inspired by it. So thank you so much for being here.
And don't be a gatekeeper. Tell a kin, tell a friend. We want everybody to know about our program, this opportunity, and we want everyone to have a chance to be more beautiful and feed their neighborhoods. This is a great thing.
Yep, stay in touch with us, guys. We've got so much more opportunities that we'll be rolling out too. So stay linked with us, get on our distribution list so you can always be in the know. Thank you, Andy, so much. Nice to see your picture,
You
for all of the
too.
nice
Thank
comments.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Miss Rose. Thank you, Leslie, Marlene, Jordan. Trying to shout y'all out, Elise. That's what I say. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys so much. You guys have a good night.
You as well.
Good
Thank
tea.
you guys so much. Enjoy your evening.
Yes.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. I did put a message in the chat for Tia. Tia,
Oh, I saw.
I don't see her anymore, but she and I went to school together. I can help her. I want her to contact me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I tried to
Let me see. I think I see it pulled up.
Oh yeah, I got it. I can I'll shoot Tia an email with your contact info. Thank you so much for that. That's really sweet.
thank
We
you.
out here already hanging our hands out, saying, "Let me help you, sis. Let me pull you in and work together." I love
That's
it.
right. That's right.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's cool. All righty.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye,
Take
y'all.
care, guys.
Bye.